So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called My Man Godfrey, 1936. Getting this 1 out of 5 stars. I hated this flick. This is going to be another screwball comedy. There's disc 1 of the Criterion Collection. This was about as much fun as watching the discreet charm of the bourgeoisie. It's got tons of bonus features. A couple of newsreels about the Great Depression. A couple of interviews with some movie critics. The trailer and the Lux soap radio version of My Man Godfrey, which I surprisingly paid close attention to in the Good Eggs parking lot, the war zone, yesterday. While I was in between my 2 shifts. I could have gotten a longer route. I thought I was going to have 13 stops, and my final stop, 13, was from Redwood City all the way to Santa Rosa. The drive alone would have, round trip would have added an extra 3 hours to my pay, but one of the dispatchers decided to give it to another driver who only had 6 stops. So I was without stop 13. I was disappointed, but I didn't get upset. I got over it. I did get a long route during the evening. I drove about 150 miles up and down the peninsula, 21 stops. So that sort of made up for it. And I kind of did my time in a way that worked out to roughly 11 and a half hours. So when all's said and done, I probably put in 55 hours, including my vacation time today, which is good. But my checking account is going down rapidly again. I don't even know if I'll be able to put any money into my Robinhood account. The bills are piling up. I think, one of them's past due, my car bill. So I went out on a limb, so to speak, and I opened up a margin trading account. I'm borrowing to purchase contracts on Robinhood. I place an order to purchase 69 put contracts for Viridian Therapeutics. I think it's $1.20 per contract is my limit order. I don't even know if the order will go through because the bid price and the ask price spread is so huge. So I'm gambling with about $8,000. I'm betting that the stock price will go down to 20 by this September 16th, in which case I'll probably recoup more than enough money to pay the interest on the margin account. That's what I'm crossing my fingers for. But anyways, getting back to the movie. I'm hoping I can get rich quick, hit my financial goal, and then some, so that I can get a decent apartment in a 2-bedroom in San Mateo with the movie theater and a swimming pool, although my son doesn't swim much. Anyways, that's my dream. I don't know where I'm going to park in San Mateo, but I guess I'll find that out if and when my dream ever comes true. Okay. 1936 American screwball comedy film directed by Gregory LaCava. Uh, he's kind of like this guy LaCava. Let me talk. They talk a lot about him. He reminds me of I can't think of the director's name. Anyway. There's a Marxist art house director from Italy. I can't think of his name. Anyways, it's starring William Powell, Carole Lombard, who had been briefly married years before appearing together in this film. They were divorced. I don't know why you would choose a divorced couple to play love interests. Okay. The screenplay was for My Man Godfrey. The screenplay for My Man Godfrey was written by Maury Riskind with uncredited contributions by LaCava, who took liberties with the script based on 101 Park Avenue, a short novel by Eric S. Hatch. The story concerns a socialite who hires a derelict to be her family's butler, and then she falls in love with them. In 1999, the original version of My Man Godfrey was deemed culturally significant by the United States Library Congress and selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. The film was remade in 1957 with June Allison and David Niven in the starring roles. I think David Niven was in the radio version of this. Okay. During the Great Depression, Godfrey Smith Park is unemployed, living with other homeless men, down on their luck at the New York City dump in Hooverville on the East River near the 59th Street Bridge. One night, a spoiled socialite named Cornelia Bullock offers him $5 to be her forgotten man for a scavenger hunt. The annoyed Godfrey refuses, causing Cornelia to retreat, and she falls on a pile of ashes, much to the glee of her younger sister and rival, Irene. After talking with Irene, Godfrey finds her to be kind and Godfrey offers to go with her to help her beat Cornelia, as well as to satisfy his own curiosity regarding their scavenger hunt. In the ballroom of the Waldorf Ritz Hotel, Irene's businessman father, Alexander Bullock, waits resignedly as his wife Angelica and her mooching protege Carlo play the game. Godfrey arrives and he is authenticated as a forgotten man, allowing Irene to win the game. However, Godfrey takes the opportunity to address his contempt for the audience's antics before leaving in a huff. He calls them a bunch of nitwits. This movie is so dumb. I think I only laughed once between the exchange between the father figure and Godfrey. And I wanted to like it more because Godfrey sort of lift himself up, but he's kind of a do-gooder, though. I didn't like his do-gooder attitude. It was annoying. And he didn't ask for a handout. He worked hard as a butler. The film critics on the bonus feature, they tried to make it the director less of a leftist, I guess, by saying that he criticized Marxism. But I think Frank, he's in the same mold as Frank Capra, this guy, but he's a little more of an ideologue. Capra was a Republican, but he was a rhino, Republican in name only, meaning that he supported a lot of socialist ideas during the 30s. Anyways, enough about that. He's kind of like my grandfather, who he used other people's money in the form of the GI Bill to go through college. He's that kind of Republican. Anyways, realizing what she brought him into, an apologetic Irene offers Godfrey to be her protege by hiring him as the new family butler, which he gratefully accepts because he's down on his luck or whatever. I feel like I'm down on my luck, but I keep working hard and trying to make money on Robinhood so that I can become financially independent one day. On his first day as the new butler, Godfrey is warned by the Bullock's maid, Molly, that he is merely the latest in a long line of butlers who didn't last long due to the Bullock's conflicting personality and antics. Despite this, Godfrey proves to be surprisingly competent and resourceful in his duties. Yeah, he gets drunk one day, but Cornelia holds a grudge against him, intending to get him in trouble and to have him dumped back in the streets. Survival of the streets. In the meantime, Irene proves herself to be far kinder and more empathetic than her family, particularly her sister, but just as spoiled and altogether naive, becoming infatuated with Godfrey, though no more than basic interaction and general allure. She even goes as far to kiss him, causing a job-anxious Godfrey to politely but firmly outline the boundaries of their employer relationship. Oh, she doesn't want to dip his ink in the company pen, but he does later. It's kind of nice that Godfrey saves up his $150 a month to bail out the family by shorting the family stock. That was kind of cool, but I still hated this movie. Anyways, eventually Godfrey is recognized by his long-term friend Tommy Gray at a tea party thrown by Irene. Godfrey makes up a story that he was Tommy's valet at Harvard, to which Tommy plays along by embellishing Godfrey's story with a non-existent wife and 5 children. Upon hearing this, a dismayed Irene impulsively announces her engagement to the surprised Charlie Van Rumpel. But she breaks down in tears and flees after being congratulated by Godfrey. Godfrey is almost glad that Irene is getting engaged. He's off the hook. But not so much, because she breaks the engagement. Over lunch the next day, Tommy is curious to know what one of the elite parks of Boston is doing as a servant. Godfrey explains that a broken love affair left him broke, and he was considering suicide, but the undaunted attitude of the homeless man living at the dump rekindled his spirits. Oh, okay. Living in a dump rekindled his spirits. That doesn't make sense. Eventually, Irene breaks her engagement with Charlie. Surprise! Cornelia attempts to seduce Godfrey on his day off, but When he rebuffs her, she plants her pearl necklace under Godfrey's mattress, and she calls the police, intending to have him arrested. However, the police couldn't find the pearls inside the mattress. Why? I don't know, because that wasn't explained. And Mr. Bullock, having deduced what Cornelia did, furiously informed Cornelia that the pearls are not insured and that she will lose a great deal of money if she doesn't find the necklace, which is distressing to her. The Bullocks send their daughters to Europe to get Irene away from their now broken engagement. But when they return, it's reported in the news media, the lamestream news. But when they return, Cornelia implies that she intends to seduce Godfrey again. Oh, she's back on that kick. A worried Irene stages a fainting spell and swoons into Godfrey's arms, but he rebuffs her again after realizing that she's faking, because she can see her. He can see her opening her eyes through the mirror. Having enough of Irene's behavior, Godfrey announces his resignation at the butler. But before that, he puts a very nice piece of furniture in the shower, and he turns on the shower. So she's got the wet dress going on, but you can't see anything. Not that I would want to see Carole Lombard. She's ugly in this one. She's got these funky bangs going. Anyways, before Godfrey is about to leave, Mr. Bullock throws Carlo out, literally. You hear pots and pans in the background. I guess that's one of the gags. Seeing as how these La Cava guy used to be a cartoon guy. He used to do cartoons in the newspaper and films. So he's a cartoon guy. Mr. Bullock, who had a kind of funny exchange. I like how he puts down his family, but that's about the only good part of this movie, honestly. And it's not good enough for 2 out of 5 stars, because it's only good for one laugh throughout the whole movie. Okay. Mr. Bullock announces to the family that their business is failing and that he tried to recoup the losses with his stockholders' money behind their backs, which will land him in prison on embezzlement charges, and it will leave the rest of the family penniless. All they have is the house left, which looks like a pretty decent house. However, Godfrey provides good news. He had sold short the same company, the Bullock Company, using some of the money raised by pawning Cornelia's pearl necklace to buy up the stock that Bullock had sold. He gives the stock back to Mr. Bullock, saving the family from financial ruin. So I guess he used the profits from his short sale to buy up the stock at a discount and to give it to Mr. Bullock, which is all rather confusing, but I'm not that dumb that I can't figure out what's going on. Godfrey also returns the necklace to Cornelia, who concedes defeat by confessing to planting the necklace in the mattress, and she humbly expresses her gratitude, and she has remorse for her behavior. As Godfrey leaves, the grateful Molly and the Bullocks are saddened to see him go, but Irene is determined to follow him. With Godfrey's remaining profits, Godfrey and Tommy become business partners as they convert the now filled-in dump with a fashionable nightclub called The Dump, creating new jobs for the other homeless men with a housing plan for new SRO apartments for them. Well, isn't that nice? The company doesn't want to pay dividends, so they end up paying homeless guys to stand around. Sounds like one of FDR's ideas to fill holes with, to dig holes and then fill them back up again. The film was based on a 1935 novel by Eric Ishach. Charlie Rogers, head of Universal, called it a surefire laugh getting novel. I only laughed one time. I guess I don't get the humor in this. That studio purchases film rights and assigned Hatch to write the script with Molly Riskin, who received top billing for the screenplay. Rogers hired Gregory LaCava to direct, the best comedy director in Hollywood. I don't know about that. I don't know anything about LaCava other than this film. It was the first major film from Universal after that studio had been taken over by new management, including head of production Charles Rogers. However, the studio did not have any major stars under contract, apart from Buck Jones, Boris Karloff, and Edward Everett Horton. So they needed to borrow some from other studios. The studio's original choice to play Irene, the part eventually played by Carole Lombard, was Constance Bennett. And Marion Hopkins also considered, but the director, Gregory LaCava, would only agree to Bennett if Universal borrowed William Powell from MGM. They talk about this in the bonus features. Powell, for his part, only would take the role if Carole Lombard played Irene. Powell and Lombard had divorced 3 years earlier. Why would you ask for your ex-wife to get a job on a film? I don't understand Powell. Okay, Powell's casting was announced in January 1936. Universal borrowed Lombard from Paramount. As part of the deal, Universal loaned Paramount Margaret Sullivan for the film I Love a Soldier. And Lombard's clothes designer, Travis Banton, accompanied her. Alice Brady joined the cast in March. My Man Godfrey was in production from April 15th to May 27, 1936, and then had retakes in early June of the year. Its budget was $575,375. Oh, that's a lot of dough, $500,000 during the Great Depression. And Powell was paid $87,500, which is about how much I make in a year. And Lombard, $45,645. The film was one of the first under the new regime of Charles Rogers at Universal, although it had been developed under its predecessor, Carl Laemmle Jr. LaCava, a former animator and freelancer for most of his film career, held studio executives in contempt, and he was known to be a bit eccentric. He was a drunk. There's an actual drunk scene in this movie. When he and Powell hit a snag over a disagreement about how Godfrey should be portrayed, they settled things over a bottle of scotch. The next morning, LaCava showed up for shooting with a headache hangover, but Powell didn't appear. Instead, the actor sent a telegram stating, "We have found Godfrey last night, but we lost Powell. See you tomorrow." Due to insurance considerations, a stand-in stuntman, Chick Collins, was used when Godfrey carried Irene over his shoulder up the stairs to her bedroom when she faked her fainting. When tensions hit a high point on the set, Lombard had a habit of inserting 4-letter words into her dialogue. You see that a lot in the outtakes. That's another bonus feature on here. Outtakes, often to the great amusement of the cast. This made shooting somewhat difficult, but clips of her cursing in her dialogue and messing up her lines can still be seen in blooper reels, which are on the bonus features. She's got a potty mouth, this Carole Lombard. Okay. It was the first film released under the aegis of Charles Roberts, and it was given a huge, big premiere. My Man Godfrey premiered on September 6, 1936, and it was released in the United States on the 17th of September. It was a runaway hit, and it earned huge profits for the studio. The movie was one of the most acclaimed comedies of 1936. Writing for The Spectator, Graham Greene gave the film a moderately positive review. Don't care about that. My Man Godfrey was the first movie to be nominated in all 4 acting categories in the first year that supporting categories were introduced. It's also the only film in Oscar history to receive a nomination in all 4 acting categories, and it was not nominated for Best Picture. And it was the only film to be nominated in these 6 categories, and it did not receive any award until 2013's American Hustle. In 1999, the film was deemed culturally significant by the United States Library of Congress and was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. In 2000, the film was ranked number 44 on the American Film Institute's lists of the 100 funniest comedies. Oh boy, I wouldn't want to go down that list. The premiere voted it one of the 50 great comedies of all time in 2006. The original film is generally thought to have lapsed into public domain due to a failure to renew the film's copyright after 28 years. However, the underlying work, the book from 1935 called 1101 Park Avenue, retitled My Man Godfrey, with the film's release, had its copyright renewed in 1963 and is thus still under copyright. So the book is under copyright, but the film isn't. And the film's copyright sort of transfers over to the book's copyright sort of transfers over to the film's copyright, according to legal-minded people. My Man Godfrey was twice adapted as a 1-hour radio broadcast on Lux Radio Theater on May 9th, 1938, with David Niven playing the part of Tommy Gray. That's the one I listened to in Good Eggs parking lot. And on November 9th, 1954, with Jeff Chandler and Julie Adams. During the Lux Radio version of it, Cecil B. DeMille comments how he fired Carole Lombard early on during her career for being incompetent. She went by a different name. When she was a younger actress, she was born Jane Alice Peters. Is not good looking in this. Oh my gosh. Okay. But Carole Lombard went on to become a famous actress later on. It was also adapted to radio in a half-hour version on the October 2nd, 1946 episode of the Academy Award Theater, again starring William Powell. When the film was remade in 1957, David Niven played Godfrey opposite June Allison, directed by Henry Coster. I have not seen that. A stage musical version of My Man Godfrey, produced by Alan Carr and written by librettists Alan J. Lerner and Christy Kane and composer Gerard Kenny, was intended for Broadway in 1985, but it remained incomplete at the time of Alan J. Lerner's death in 1986. Wow, I got 69megacom.com. In the chat room. No, make it HD? I think it's the same person under a different name.
Oh, spinning emojis.
They changed their name because I keep reporting them to YouTube every time. All right. So I think I better cook some tacos for my son. He's getting hungry over here. He had a snack bag, though. He didn't get it on Thursday thanks to his mother's change of plan last minute. Have me drive to the library, shorten my already limited timeshare with my son. That was very nice of her. Not really. Anyways, I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to try to get as many of these as I can. I'm driving him to the park to meet his buddy Robert again with Robert's comely mother. I don't know if they want to go to Burger King afterwards. Might be my first date in 5 years. If you can call it that. So I'm going to try to watch some more of these and try to get through 3 of them. Maybe I'll finish the Monster Pedris Blancas. Maybe I can do 4 reviews today. I don't know what kind of bonus features are on this disc, though. Sergeant York, disc 1. Hopefully none, but I went through a lot of bonus features on both discs for Seahawk and My Man Godfrey. Whew, that was a long Wikipedia page for My Man Godfrey. Anyways, that's the end of my review. I'm not going to say highly recommend or check it out. I'm going to say skip this one. It's a bunch of class warfare nonsense from the Great Depression. And they keep repeating the same stupid thing that economic recovery is just around the corner. I guess that was a Hoover expression before he got fired, and then FDR ushered in a communist economic program, which failed, of course, prolonged the Depression. But nobody mentions that. Everybody thinks that FDR was a great hero. Anyways, enough about economics and politics. I think I've covered all my bases with the leanings of the director, which I hate. I hate it when the when the director inserts their own ideology, unless it's like some dystopian film like 1984 or Seconds or Brazil. If I make a lot of money on Robin Hood, I'll put up movie posters, because I know Professor Quiz recommended that. And I'll start getting my movie collection going. We'll have a competition with Adrian. See who has more movie discs. I'll start installing shelves in my future apartment. We'll see if the owner will let me do it. Later.